Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I'm your host Sean Gummer, here with me as usual, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And today we got a heavy dose of Nintendo here as they had the Partner Direct showcase on, was it Thursday at this point? Also good news about Switch 2, but then bad news about the original Switch. And what's the deal with the game key cards? Lots of hatred after that partner showcase that had a lot of game key cards. And also then Nintendo put out a survey. Once again, it's not the first one about the game key cards. So obviously Nintendo seems to be intently listening from the sidelines, or at least watching all the commotion that everybody seems to be having about the game key cards. And Mark and I might have differing opinions on the validity of those concerns, but we'll get into that. Xbox also has some interesting news after they had their financials last week as well. And then you got, we talked about a lot of the PlayStation stuff last week. So if you're looking for discussion on the Horizon lawsuit and all of the stuff about whether they're going multi-platform or not or whatever, make sure you check out the episode last week. And then, hey, we got some stuff about BioShock 4, what's going on with that. We got some other things. I've been playing a few things along with the Adventures of Elliot that was on that Burner Showcase. Marc's been playing Pirate Yakuza. So we'll get into all those things and more right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right. Well, just so we can go ahead and get this out of the way here, housekeeping. Thank you for whether you watch us live or you watch us later or listen to us later. Appreciate you. You all helped us get the channel into where we can get Twitch monetization now. So thank you so much to all the people that watch WTF Network on Twitch. Although the YouTube channel is where it's at, we go live on the channel every week on Mondays around 9 p.m. Eastern time. 6 p.m. Pacific and so on for that on, the other time zones. You hit subscribe, you get not only what we do here, but you also get our other content, which, if you love the entertainment stuff, movies and TV, which we'll get into some of that here as I watch a Fantastic Four movie on Tuesday. Voucher Broadcasting did their review of the Fantastic Four movie, so you can definitely go check them out on the channel. And they basically do a movie review every week. So if you are big into movies, they're doing the Naked Gun remake review this week. So definitely something worth checking out. And also the anime podcast, so Taku Cafe. You can go watch them if you like to watch the seasonal anime. They have reviews every week on the shows that are happening during the summer season. So make sure you go check them out. And you can subscribe all those in podcast form, listen with your ears on whichever podcast platform you wish. We're all on there. You can go subscribe individually or all three. That'd be great. Leave us a review on there. That'd be awesome. And yeah, we appreciate you checking us out. So with that out of the way here, I guess we'll go ahead and start how we usually do. The games we've been playing. Mark, you finally got to it.
Yep.
Pirate Yakuza, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm like 25 hours in. I kind of just started chapter 3. I know it's a shorter game than like your regular Yakuza game. So I looked up how many chapters there are, and there's only 5.
Yep.
It is like stupid easy.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not.
I mean, I've already maxed out the pirate rank. I did that middle of chapter 2. I was like, is there more? It's like, no. I maxed out the ship. I haven't maxed out Majima's skills yet because a lot of them I don't care about. But I'm just doing the ones that like boost his health and attack up quite a bit. I
had so many points left over. It was
right.
It was crazy.
I don't know. The game's fine. Battle feels weird, or like I don't know if it's like my setup or if it's something with the game, but it feels like almost like a bit laggy. Or like I want to be more responsive than it is. Like I can't do heat actions like regularly, or even like jumping out of bullet. The second you have to get out of bullets, like evade bullets, I don't really do that well.
Yeah.
But I have every health item in the game basically, and so it doesn't really matter. I can just power through almost anything except for the pirate fights because you can't access the inventory.
Yeah.
But everything else is fine. Like ship combat's okay, but it's so like brain dead that all you do is like just go for the lead ship. It's like you don't care about. It's like, oh, I'm doing this fight with 5 other pirate ships. It's like, no, just go for the boss one.
No, yeah, I figured that out after a while too. I was like, why am I wasting my time killing the smaller ships? I'm just basically hurting myself and taking up time. Just go after the big one.
Because when you take out the big one, the battle stops and he's
exactly.
I like it. You can tell it's kind of I wouldn't say budget game, but more of a like side story thing.
Right.
It's still fine. I like the concept of like pirate, like the treasure you're gathering, I guess. I think the hook's kind of dumb personally, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. But I'm so over leveled at this point that the game's kind of a joke.
Right. Yeah. So you're familiar with the other games, so like the battling outside of the ship is similar to all the other.
I didn't intend to over level. I guess I guess I was under the mistaken impression like, oh, this won't be all there is. Like I got all these ship upgrades, but like there'll be more, or I'll unlock like another engineer and they will bolt on another deck to the ship, or something like ludicrous. But no, that's it. So I got the coconut machine gun, the super coconut machine gun, and the super laser, so I can destroy anything.
Yeah, I got that from what's her Julie's shop or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, I don't really need to do the normal upgrades on here because I already have the best stuff.
Right. And it's not like I looked at the guide after the fact, but like when I was doing this initially, I was like, this just sounds like the best one. So I did it, and then it's like, no, that is the best one. Like, so okay. It's like, all right, don't care about any of this other crap then. I liked the pirate minigame. Like, it's just like a model viewer, or it's just like, hey, we have all these like bland looking models. Why don't you just put them in this pirate minigame and you can go beat them all up or have them on your crew. And yeah, it's a lot of busy work in the game that.
Yeah, there was so much side stuff. That's how you get over level really easily because you're constantly bombarded with the side things that like before you know it, you have so many points and gold and everything else. It's like
right, yeah. Like I got like, money is kind of a concern, I guess, but you can also like the bounty system, like. It's like, oh, just beat up this guy and you get $10,000. It's like, okay.
Oh yeah, you could totally and then so many more of them keep showing up. So it's like,
yeah, it's like a never-ending system. So it's like, just keep feeding me money and I'll just do it. And then
I just like, be in one section and then I'm like, oh, I'll just clear out this whole section that I'm in of all the stuff.
Right.
And then okay, I'll go to the next one.
And then I think I have like, I did most of the Mad Atlantis fights, I guess, but I have like 550,000 pirate points. And it's like, this is a joke. Like, why even have this at all? Like, because like, if I had infinite money, I could buy everything out of the shop right now or out of this upgrade system. These pirate points aren't like a limiting factor. It's, after a certain point, it's like, why even bother? Just turn them off.
Well, and then also it's like you don't really need all the.
Yeah, like I don't care about most of the heat actions you get. I care, making the guard actually function correctly, or if there was a thing that like let me do the heat actions like quickly, I would do that. That's about it.
I really didn't guard that much. I just dodged or just
Yeah.
It,
and even like the evil pirate, like I already kicked it. Like I forget the stupid name for him, but like I already beat up one of them, and I'm like on my way to the second one, and they're also like a joke. It's like, why even bother? Or it's not why bother, but it's like this isn't like challenging at all. Like the only fight I've really lost, I've lost a few fights occasionally just because I'm like doing like 3 other things as I'm playing the game. Like I'm watching Stargate and talking to Yins and trying to deal with my cat,
Yeah.
But like the one fight I lost was in Atlantis. It was like rank 4 of the captain battle or whatever.
Oh,
like,
yeah, those are the only things I lost to, the ship stuff.
Yeah, because like you got to do like 3 battles in basically a row, where it's like ship combat, pirate combat, ship combat, pirate combat, And like I lost like the last pirate, the boat combat when you're actually on the ship,
right?
Because I had like no one left on with my crew, so it's like me against like 30 guys. So it's like, okay, this ain't gonna go well for me, even with the cool shit I already have. But yeah, I like it. I'll finish.
Yeah, because you don't get to regain health or whatever. So
yeah. Like, the only way you regain health is with like the support system, but that's not explained rather well. Or I mean, I kind of know how to do it. You just press up on the D-pad, and like Noah pops out with the tiger and another dude, but they don't really explain like why.
Yeah,
how long it takes to recharge, or there's not like a meter telling you like, oh, it's gonna refill right now. It just kind of randomly occurs. So,
well, it does have a meter that like you can see, but they also have one too. So it's like,
right.
If they hit you with their attack, some of those will like really,
like
hit you hard,
one
and
that
then
was
that's how I died a few times.
Yeah, there was one like sumo wrestler one that like they could like stun me
or
stun my crew, and that sucked.
Yeah, I
hated
took
out
that.
Like half my crew, But yeah,
because it's like almost unblockable. You can't stop him from hitting you.
Even if you jump, it hit me one time. Like, what? I'm in the air. Like, how did this happen? Yeah, I'm pretty dedicated to that game at the moment, so I'll probably finish it by the end of the next week, or by the next week, and then give my thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's how I was with it too. I got me pretty hooked just because I found the story kind of. Are you liking the story at all, or?
I'm a little early in, I guess, still, but it's okay. I like Evil Samoa Joe. He's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I actually just don't like you only have 2 styles. You have like regular style and then like pirate style for fighting. I don't really like the fighting pirate style at all. Like when you have like two cutlasses and you kind of throw them around like a boomerang. Like
I like doing the thing where you use it like a slingshot and swing him around or whatever. That would take out a lot of the.
Okay, I think I haven't unlocked that yet. That's like a heat action, I think.
Okay, yeah, that was fun. But
yeah, I did. I've done a lot in that game already, and there's still a lot to go.
Yeah, it felt like endless. After a while, I was just like, okay, I gotta stop. But I got through I rolled the credits part, which is funny.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anything else you've been?
That's Training 2, but that's taking a backseat right now. Bought a Game Boy Micro. That's fun.
Hey, that's cool.
Those things are like hard to find.
I imagine, yeah. They only made so many of them.
And like the one I bought it from a guy on like Facebook. It's not like the best shape, but it's still pretty decent. The battery works, which is nice. And yeah.
Hey, that's a cool thing. Well, I've been playing a few things here. One of them was shown off in the Nintendo Direct that we'll talk about here in a little bit. The Adventures of Elliot, which was kind of the both the Square Enix games were surprises, really.
Right.
But this one was kind of a surprise because it's the one that people have been asking for. It's people have been asking, when's there going to be an action RPG HD 2D game? And even though I guess you kind of got that with the Star Ocean remake, but this one's new. And it's made by Team Asano as well, same as, with the Octopath Traveler team. And it's pretty much like almost like a Zelda and Legend of Mana had a baby. You get a lot of the like getting to jump around and stuff like Mana, and that the RPG mechanics of it with the kind of exploration and combat of Zelda.
Right.
So, take down bushes and find items and throw, and then you can, take out barrels and find the items and stuff like that too. And then you can have like Magicite that you can add attacks to your weapons or add buffs and things like that, which are fun. And then like the Red Mage character is sort of taken right out of the like Adventures of Mana game. I mean, obviously it's a Final Fantasy job as well, but I think Adventures of Mana has like a Red Mage type of character that you play as. So yeah, I'm like halfway through the demo. I don't know how long it is. But it's cool that they always do this, it seems like, with these early builds. They did the same thing with Triangle Strategy and Octopath Traveler. Both the Octopath Traveler games had demos, so they're really great about that. And, I like when you can try things out early. I wonder if the other Octopath Traveler game, if they showed at the showcase, is going to have a demo at some point. But yeah, it's enjoyable. I think if you like those kind of games, you've been waiting for that action RPG version of HD2D, I think that this is going to hit that for you. I'm kind of excited for when this comes at some point in 2026.
Right.
And I also played some of the Shinobi Art of Vengeance demo as well. That runs really well on Switch 2, but I think that's going to have a Switch 2 version. The art style like pops off the screen really well, and it's typical Shinobi combat and stuff, but obviously a bit updated, and that's fun. I've been waiting for both of the Ninja games to come out. So Shinobi comes out like next month, and the one that's out now is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, which that game, first of all, this is my nitpick with the we'll talk about the game key cards in a little bit, but my big nitpick so far with Switch 2 is when it comes to the third party stuff. And you saw it in this direct as well. The lack of Switch 2 dev kits is really hurting Switch, not in sales, obviously, but
right.
in just, I see a lot of people online saying, man, I wish there was more third-party Switch 2 stuff to play, right? People that have already played a lot of the old games that are out there, or, they don't really want the Guardians of Azuma, Room Factory game or something like that, and they're looking for the Ninja Gaidens and Shinobis and some of the newer games that are coming. And it's like, oh, I want the Switch 2 version. I want the version that's going to run at 60 FPS and it's going to look the best and things like that. And it's like, instead you get the Switch 1 version, and a lot of them, okay, you get it gets up res with the frame rate and stuff like that automatically on Switch 2, but when they lock the frame rate, like with Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, with the way that game is heavy on the platforming and trying to get you to run across the screen and all that, you do feel the difference. And so I can understand the people. I purposely did not buy it on Switch because I don't know when the Switch 2 version is going to come, because it is an indie, right, that's making this. There's no guarantee they're going to have a Switch 2 version. It's probably going to depend on sales, on whether they do or not. Not sure if they're going to do some kind of like upgrade, or they're just going to let you upgrade for free or whatever. There's a lot of games that are coming out, they're just not going to do a Switch 2 version, or there's not a way to upgrade. You have to decide whether you want to buy the Switch 1 version or a Switch 2 version, and maybe the Switch 2 version ain't coming for a while. So it's like, okay, I either just don't play the game waiting to see if it's going to happen, or I do like I did. I just bought it on Xbox. And Xbox has actually had like a $2.50 sale for it, which I do like that. In both Nintendo and Xbox do this. They have like sales to get you to like pre-order or buy it within the first week. And hey, I mean, I'll get to play it on. I can sit there and use it on my PC, and if they add it to the stream your own games, I can then use it on my phone or whatever. So I think it would be really nice if we start seeing this not happen so much. It would be good to have it like all be parallel, where most of the stuff that comes out eventually, hopefully, Switch 2 version is automatically there. You're not getting the Switch 1 version and everybody else gets the automatically better version on the other consoles or PC, So I hope that's something that Nintendo is working on, getting those div kits out to the third parties rather quickly, aside from like the major ones that we already know are coming at some point that did not even get release dates here. So that being said, the game is really enjoyable. They definitely took more from the NES game, as in it is very much an action game with heavy on the platforming. And I haven't, obviously, I'm like, in the still in Act 1. I've heard that it gets more platformy as the time goes on because you can bounce off projectiles and you can bounce off things that are there. So like you're trying to jump and then jump into the next thing and jump into the next thing, attack the next enemy. And you're basically something almost like playing like a rhythm game at some points. Which is fun for me. I like rhythm games. So it's attracting me more to the game. Even so, like Shinobi definitely feels more like the typical Shinobi, like action game kind of thing, where this one is much more the like, okay, we really wanted to make sure that we took the platform elements of the NES version, and it does get harder as you go on, but I've been having fun with it. So definitely think that anybody that was kind of interested in this, hey, $25, I think it's well worth that price of admission there. And hey, support that team at .emu. They do a great job with all these bringing back these old franchises and making them new again. So happy to see that. Happy to see it be there, and it's good. And that's what I want. Hopefully, Shinobi continues to. This had like I think like an 86 on Overcritic, Metacritic. So yeah, good stuff.
Why would you want to? There's no reason for the game to run well on Switch 2. No one cares about frame rate on the system anyway. So
they definitely do. Or I don't think. Yeah, I heard folks just like it was making them sick. Right. Apparently, if you're like really used to the difference between 60 and 30, I guess it makes a difference really for a lot of people. So
again, the Switch 2 is not for you then. Like,
no, but it's not a Switch 2 game though. It's a Switch 1 version.
Right.
So, I think it's one of those where, hey, hopefully it'll get that Switch 2 version at some point. But that's just my issue with it, right? But it is early days, right? It is one of those things where it's like at some point, hopefully they correct this, and I hope it's soon. Only thing is, I hate that hopefully the Switch 2 version doesn't come and like really quick, and then it's like, damn, okay, I didn't have to wait too long. But I mean, if it comes like months later, then I don't feel bad about it. Still got to support the dev, so that's the whole point. But getting to that partner showcase that we did have here, they showed quite a bit. It probably wasn't the heavy hitters I think a lot of people wanted to see. What do you think of it in general?
It is mostly fine, or mostly games you kind of expect to see. The one that looked kind of weird was that stupid Build a Fire game or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah.
But everything else, it's like, yep, we're gonna get a new Octopath Traveler. We're gonna get a new. We're gonna port over that Dragon Ball fighting game. So.
Yeah. Good to see Sparking Zero on there. For sure. That was. I mean, it's good to see that it's getting the third party support. So. Bandai Namco really kind of came in with Sparking Zero. You got the Pac-Man World 2 remake or whatever with the repack. That looks good. You had the two Square Enix games were like the last two that were kind of the surprises. So like Adventures of Elliot that I already mentioned, and then Octopath Traveler 0, which was kind of surprised. It's sort of like an amalgamation of they took the story from was it Champions of Conquest or whatever the mobile game is. And then also some of the characters, but it doesn't have all the characters. It has like 30 of them. And they also took the story and they're gonna make it into like one cohesive narrative instead of kind of like piecemealing it like you would with the gacha system, like in the mobile game. So I guess you wouldn't necessarily have to. Hopefully, you don't have to necessarily play the mobile game. We've seen this a lot more now, where because mobile games are starting to, at least the the gachas, when they start not bringing in the money they used to or whatnot, we're starting to see some developers take that and make it into like, oh, here's kind of like the greatest hits of the game. And it's
they strip out the multiplayer garbage and they make it an actual game.
So, and then this one also has like a city builder, or like a town builder part of it as well, in here, which is different than obviously the first two Octopath Traveler games, but it's still going to have the same kind of battle system and obviously the great music and all that stuff, which is what I'm excited about. I can kind of deal with the town builder stuff as long as it's not like as long as the bulk of the gameplay is still the RPG part of Octopath Traveler, then I'm good. And it is coming this year, December 4th. So I guess that's the Square Enix is going to have that big winter game. They always seem to like to have a winter game that they put in there.
Right.
So yeah, and then Adventures Elliot, I already talked about. You can go play the demo. It's only on Switch 2 though. Both these games are going to be out on everything else. So Square Enix is not doing any exclusive deals. This is going to be out on Xbox, out on PlayStation, all that. Just I guess the demo is locked. Not sure if it's going to come to the other systems or not eventually, but the demo right now is locked to Switch 2. So there's that. And then they did have a few other things worth noting in here as well. Yakuza Kiwami 2 is going to be on Switch 2, and then 1 is getting like a Switch 2 upgrade. There's a new Katamari Damacy game, Once Upon a Katamari, the first new Katamari game that's not locked to mobile in 14 years.
Yeah, like the first actual new Katamari game.
So that's pretty cool if you're a big Katamari Damacy fan.
Everyone should be.
Enjoyed the Chronos The New Dawn trailer. I'm not going to play that on Switch 2, but
why not? You can play it on the go, man.
That's not a game. So that's a game I want to be in my room, locked in, and get scared or whatever.
What about you always bring up like going to doctor's appointments? You can play that game when you're.
That's not a game I want to play at the doctor's. Go to the doctor's appointment and like be jumping out of my seat. That's not a great visual. It would be funny though. It would be funny if that happened. Hey, Plants vs. Zombies remake
Replanted. Yeah.
replanted is
I mean, I wouldn't say it's I like to just like an HD.
okay, like a
Or
HD remaster or whatever.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't see anything new in there, or
Yeah.
maybe. But hey, they're
Hey.
finally making another Plants vs Zombies for consoles. It's only been 20 years.
Yeah. The newest thing is for Capcom was Monster Hunter Stories 3. That was like the lead off game. Glad to see more Monster Hunter Stories.
Neither of us care.
No, I like the Monster Hunter Stories. Like, it's just those games are also like when I'm having to decide between buying one thing or the other. It's like that's a $60 game, and I have this other 60. It always ends up coming out at the same time as something else. But I do like them. I think it's cool that Monster Hunter has an RPG.
I mean, it's also like not your franchise, so it's like, why would you ever consider one of those?
But it does make Monster Hunter turn-based, which that's positive. I do. Well, I just think that's good that they apparently these are huge in Japan, so makes sense why Capcom would keep bringing them out.
Sure.
So that was kind of a big thing for Capcom to show off on here. But for the most part, it was, I would say, like a middle of the road partner showcase for sure. Rumors already going crazy about there's going to be another like Nintendo first party direct before we get out of the month of August, especially with Gamescom coming around. Maybe that will be the case, especially because I don't know. Where's Metroid Prime 4 at?
Yeah. I was pretty legitimately shocked for this thing when they showed that Hyrule Warriors thing. Cause I watched it and I was like, is this like a remake or like just are they just porting over the second one? And I was like, no, this is the third one. I'm like,
yeah, this is a new one.
You made 3 of these? Like,
this is supposed to be the prequel to Tears of the Kingdom now.
Okay, great.
The other one was the prequel to Breath of the Wild, I guess.
Right. Where's the prequel to Wanda Gamelon? That's the one I want. God damn it.
The one you want.
Yeah, I agree. Like nothing really, to me, nothing really popped out. Like I guess Katamari Damacy is cool. But that'd be like my game of the thing, and yours would probably be the Square Enix crap at the end. So
yeah, for sure, that was mine.
The one game that I actually didn't think looked good, or like kind of forced, was that weird magical frog game, or the rat when you're controlling the rat.
Oh, Hella,
yeah, that looked really. I don't want to say it looked bad, but it looked really wonky, or looked really like. This doesn't look quite like a game,
Yeah, it looked like it was supposed to be in VR or something, and then they
like
made it
the way like the mouse tail would like bob and weave. I'm like, this looks really weird. Like it shouldn't be. Like, you shouldn't be looking at this like that closely. Like, yeah, the camera should have been pulled out like in VR or something or whatever.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And I'm all excited for Just Dance 2026.
Yeah, you know me. That's the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine for a party thing, but not especially now because you got to do the whole subscribing to the to get all the extra music or whatever. So it's even more of a money sink than it used to be.
Yeah.
But all right, that's the direct. Just let's get through some of the other things for the Switch before we get into the main section of this here. So the Switch 2 has now sold 6 million units in 7 weeks. That's as of the end of June 30th, with Mario Kart World has sold 5.6 million copies in its first month, which is insane. The attach rate is now 96%, which Okay, it's the launch game. It's the one bundled in. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's not a huge surprise. It's the only goddamn game worth getting at the time.
Right, exactly.
So
They're not going to have the sales
like,
figures on Donkey Kong yet.
What's the attach rate to Rune Factory? I'm sure it's like 94%, right?
Well, hey, Rune Factory was like what, number 3 or whatever in sales for that month that we talked about last week. So,
right,
it got sales on Switch 2 for sure, because it was the only other new game, aside from Mario Kart World, that was out. And Cyberpunk got some really great sales as well, but it's old still. So, still the highest sales numbers for a launch and all that kind of stuff that has been said already. PlayStation 5 didn't even get that close. I needed the PlayStation 4 in that time. But again,
I mean,
it has to do with the fact that, there's so many Switch 2s out there for you to buy.
Right.
Pretty much, again, like I think we've said a bunch of times, if you want to buy a Switch 2, you can pretty much find it. And it feels like constantly there's some store that has it either online or in store. Even GameStop, I was there when I went to go buy the gift card so I could buy Ragebound on Xbox. They have it on their site. Check with your local GameStop to see if they have a Switch 2 unit,
And it also helps that, like, at least for the PS5 comparison, it's not COVID happening right now either. So,
well, yeah, for sure. And even PS4 to an extent, they didn't make the amount of PS4s that Nintendo did with the Switch 2, right? Nintendo had all this time to think about it, and then of course with the tariffs coming in, I'm sure that they made sure they put in way more Switch 2 into the Western region, or especially United States, so they could avoid the tariffs and stuff like that. But unfortunately, it looks like this won't be happening with the Switch 1, which is still insane, Mark. Like, every other console generation except for this one, the consoles go down in price when they get old. Not this generation. They just keep going up, which is still like, I know this is like the new normal now, but it's still just weird to see when we're all so used to this growing up. Okay, eventually the console will go on sale and you buy more of them.
I mean, I would say there's 2 or 3 different reasons. First reason is consoles are now more expensive to make.
Yeah.
Second is there's not just one SKU of the console. Like, if you want a cheaper Switch, buy the Switch Lite.
Right, but even the Switch Lite went up. I'm just saying.
No, I know, but like, there's no incentive for like them to like lower the price of the Switch, like the base original Switch, because like, well, people want a cheaper one, we'll sell them reduced, a reduced one for $100 less, and eat it.
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo's been doing that kind of for a while. Like, the game or the Wii had the crappy, like the Wii Mini that sucked ass. The SNES had the SNES Junior that kind of sucked. The only one that was actually like better was like the original NES Famicom, or that when they went to the top loader model, that was like a legitimately like better unit, but that's about it.
Yeah, for sure. It's just
but yeah, even like hell, they raised the price on the Xbox consoles as well. Like,
yeah, but like the Xbox kind of like, they're technically, that's their main console. Like, the Nintendo Switch has been surpassed. It's like, it's literally just around so that they can it's literally around so they can just try to see if they can beat the PS2 in overall sales numbers or whatever to break the record. And I'm sure they're still making games for it. So until like Rhythm Heaven comes out, that's like the last main thing that was announced for Switch 1, aside from obviously the ones that are coming out now that are they going to come out this year in Metro Prime 4, Pokemon, all that. They still want people to buy them, but it's just like, wow, we can't even take the loss on this. And part of that is also because once again, the administration in the country that we live in has decided to go and put out tariffs on Vietnam and Cambodia, where Nintendo ships the consoles from. So they're getting, obviously, deals are still being worked out. This could all be nothing in a week, considering how this all seems to operate. So this could end up being just another same thing like Microsoft, where nothing happens and it doesn't really affect them, but Nintendo's probably not going to bring the price back down again. Right. So right now the OLED model costs $400, which is crazy that costs $50 less right now than the Switch 2. The Switch Lite costs, what is it, like $329? And the Switch 1 original costs $380. So it's like, yeah, woof. I mean, crazy that we're seeing this old consoles go up in price still. But it is the way of the world, market conditions and all, But again, it won't really matter, because as long as they don't raise the price of Switch 2, which is the one they want everybody to buy, I think you're good. The people will kind of not, the people that are buying the Switch, the thing that's, I just have these memories of, oh man, it finally went down in price. Okay, it happened to me with the PS3, where at the tail end of the PS3 generation, when it had the big price cut, is when I finally bought it.
Yeah.
And I finally got to experience some of the PS3 games that I'd never gotten to play at all. Right? And it's like, you won't really get to have that outside of just giving your Switch 1 away to your sibling or, a friend or whatever. You won't have that where it's like, oh, let's have that last Christmas rush of, oh, go buy the Switch 1 for your younger brother, and you have the Switch 2, and then y'all can
yeah, but like the days of Nintendo, or even like any console maker, like blowing shit out and going like, oh, buy PS4 right now for $100, like that's never gonna happen again. So
that's what's sad, though. It's sad to see that we've gotten to that. But yeah, I mean, so you got some good and bad with Nintendo as far as the consoles go. They also did add this was like announced technically, like it feels like an hour before we started doing the episode last week, and then I had wrote it down, and then I forgot to mention that Mario Paint has been added to the SNES Switch Online, which this was like one of the first things I thought of when they said that the Switch 2 is going to have mouse support. It's like, how long is it going to take for them to add Mario Paint?
Well, there's only two games that like you ever use a SNES mouse. It's like that and like Terminator 2, the arcade machine.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
But apparently it works fairly well. And, if you want to check it out, I guess you can. Just
here's a better question. Why not make a new Mario Paint?
I wonder if that's in the cards at some point. Or they could just add it to Mario Maker 3. Just add a Mario Paint section.
Well, it had like, because Mario Maker 2, the biggest problem with that was like the interface for building levels sucked.
Right.
So it would be nice if they released basically like the Maker version of Mario Maker 3, if such a thing was possible, for free.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't, you can play your level, but that's it. You can't play, and you can upload your level. I would say that would be good as well. But you can't download anyone else's, or you can't play like the story mode or whatever. And it might be nice, and they would never do this, if there was like a PC version. Not a PC version, but a PC like builder part but
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy talk. So that'll never,
yeah, we'll see. I mean, will they add what, like any 3D environments also in
I
this
doubt it,
one?
because
So
that adds so much more complexity that people can't like wrap their heads around it.
yeah, that's true
Without it being
too. But
without it being like real. I mean, if they did, it'd be like really dumbed down or really simplified. So
I'm also surprised they haven't done a Zelda Maker at this point. But
again, I think that
yeah,
like if you want to do like the old NES and SNES dungeon layout stuff, maybe, but
yeah.
I mean, I would say it's hard. Like, are you just gonna give them like,
I mean, but
build the
technically, there's
overworld?
also like there's already an RPG Maker, so
No,
yeah,
that's not comparable at all.
yeah.
uh, like you just have people like you know, build 8 levels and go, hey, play this, play the G to 69's Zelda, or like,
Yeah, I would imagine they'd have a panel limit of
yeah,
how many panels you could have, or
right,
whatnot, or maybe they introduce more with a DLC pack. Like, oh, you could technically make a whole entire Zelda game inside this, but you have to pay like $20 more or something.
right.
I don't know how they would technically do all that, but I know people have been asking for it for a long time.
I mean,
So
people ask for a lot of stuff from Nintendo, and they
yeah,
rarely deliver. So stop.
that's
How's that?
true.
How's that Mother 3 game treating you guys? It's only been
Oh,
30
people,
years.
it also, I mean, it's bad when Nintendo releases the freaking Japanese version on
Right.
Switch Online, and there's fan translations out there that they could, pay someone to take and put in the game and put it out in English, but they don't want to out of, I don't know what it is at this point.
Right.
um, but the major concern, I mean, this has been a concern since the Switch 2 launched, obviously, but it feels like the qualms have been louder after the partner showcase, where almost all the games were game key cards.
Yeah.
For one reason or another. Like, Star Wars Outlaws, obviously probably way too big.
Right.
And Octopath Traveler 0, way too small, because they only sell the one game card, the 64 gigabyte game card, which I'm sure is really expensive when you have a 5 gigabyte game and you're not making money back on putting the entire thing on cart. So in order to entice the third parties to bring their games to Switch 2, Nintendo did this half measure, which is the game key card, which is essentially very similar to what we see with at least PlayStation, because Xbox does a lot of the code in the box stuff, which now they've gone backwards, and at least with their first party, have decided that they're going to go and put I don't know if they're going to do the same thing as the key card, or they're going to put the whole game on disc, whatever. But we've seen this with PlayStation, where there's a large portion of the game on disc, but you still have to put the game in the system, install the rest of the game, and you have to use the disc every time you're going to play the game. The game key card is very similar, except you have to download the entire game, but you cannot play it without the physical card. So it's, again, a half measure. So you got the people that are you as the physical game collector.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on this whole game key card? Are you outraged like so many other people?
I'm not like raising my pitchfork over it, but I wouldn't buy a game with it. If it's a problem of like cost, so like Octopath Zero is a good example. Why isn't there a cheaper game like cartridge size? It's like 16 gigabytes. Because most indie games are going to take up that at all.
Because the Switch 1 had that. They had a cheaper card.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why doesn't this one?
That's look, this is obviously,
I mean, yes.
yeah.
I realize that, like, the Switch 1 had a few different like cart sizes, for like storage. It's like, okay,
Right.
why doesn't this thing have it as well? Like, it would reduce the cost. Like, if Square could put, Octopath Zero on an 8 gigabyte cartridge, they'd probably do it.
Yeah, whatever their minimum size is,
Right. I did read some stories that like, this is anecdotal, I guess, but people were getting banned for having like buying used game cards.
Yeah, that was something that they had to. You just have to tell Nintendo and then get them to like push. You have to call like Nintendo support, explain it to them, and then they'll unban you or whatever.
Which is like that's already bad. And then also like the real problem is like preservation, because like, okay, the system works now, and it'll likely work in 5 years, but is it going to work in 10 years? Will it work in 20? 20's no. Even 10 is probably dicey because they just shut down the Wii U like a few years ago.
Well, okay, they shut down the download store, but you can still download your games.
But are you going to be able to
buy
download
any new games?
Yeah. What are you going to be able to download? Like the key card version?
So this is my pushback on it, in that obviously, with the existence of, you're gonna, especially with the way storage works now, where you have to just constantly keep buying it. You either have to buy the biggest micro express SD card there is to be able to put all your games on there, or you gotta constantly cycle out games, which means you'll end up deleting it, and then if you want to play it later, you're gonna have to re-download it or whatever. But the internet's not going to get worse as time moves on. The internet's going to get better. So like this whole idea
also. I think Trump just killed off like the broadband speed requirements.
Okay, but
for, like,
listen, and Trump's not going to be president forever. Okay, even if he somehow enacts the stupid thing where he can run for re-election again, the dude's like what, 82?
You're right.
He's gonna be. Yeah,
he's not gonna be president for a third time. The third time is when he becomes anointed God Emperor of the world, and then.
Okay, but not making this political. I'm just, for the most part, it keeps improving. Obviously, there are always going to be rural areas that, unfortunately, like I have a friend that used to work with me that he moved like 2 hours west to Fort Myers, and he has to use Elon's thing to have internet.
Yeah,
the Starlink thing. There's people that used to have to use, like, the only internet you could possibly have was the satellite, the HughesNet or DirecTV internet or whatever. So like, I get it, right? And like you said, there have been at points people trying to get Google broadband, Google Wi-Fi or Google Fi to go all across the country, and then that got killed. And and in other countries it's obviously even worse.
Way worse. So.
But like, I think for the most part, there's ways to combat that too. Like, you can go buy a storage drive and put the game on there, and you're just transferring it instead of downloading it. There are so many different ways nowadays
you still have to get the game in the first place. Like, again, are you gonna like go to, like, let's say you live in like the boonies somewhere? Are you gonna like take a laptop or take your Switch 2 with you and some external hard drive to start like the Starbucks in your capital city and hang out there for 6 hours as you download all your library? Like, no.
No, but you're gonna you download the one game that you want to play, or the few of them that you want to play for the foreseeable future, and then you like, do it again once you.
You also brought up like game cycling or get your game library and that stuff. Like, everyone doesn't need to have their whole goddamn library on their system at all times. Like,
there's people that's their whole problem, right? Is like, oh well, what if I delete my game off of? Okay, so this is the issue, right? I think this is a situation with the 3DS where there's certain games that, like, I think even with the download being available, because of them being like DSi or something like that, you cannot re-download. Right.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have it on your system, you have no way to get it back again. So that's why they wanted to have the whole thing on there.
The difference there, though, is the DSi and like the 3DS, some of that stuff, it was only digital.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, there's no physical version of like, you know, my journal or, you know, my.
Well, a lot of the indie games today, there's a lot of indie games that don't have, you know, physical versions. Right.
I'm also not one of these people who thinks like every game should ever be preserved. Like, that's also insanity. I was just bitching about the Jaguar on Facebook, how that was a complete hunk of shit. Like, if that thing like faded into the dust, I'd be happier all for it, believe me. But you going into a store buying essentially an empty cartridge that is like just, you know, we already ran into this problem in the 80s with like old PC games like Code Wheels and shit, or, you know, like dongles. Like, we shouldn't be going back to that technology. They should be offering either be either or, you know.
Okay, but here's my thing. Nobody has a problem with PC games being all digital.
Yeah, because Steam will never go away. And they've also said,
okay, but we don't know that, right? Like, isn't that the whole thing about preservation? Is like, okay, well, technically this will never go away because you could download it off a ROM later. You know, like,
also that Steam or Valve has said that, like, if the unlikely scenario that Steam ever like went away or something, like, you'd still have access to all your shit. We have built in a way for that to happen. Also, piracy exists on the PC. So, you know, if you want to download a specific version of a game because you're weird, you could do so if you really want to do. But, I mean, if that's the way they want to go, like, I'm sure the Switch 2 is already being worked on by pirates, and they'll have like a new MIG flash card for that thing eventually. And it's like, hey, just download whatever you want on this Express card and slap it in the system. And there you go.
Yeah,
I'm sure Nintendo will be real happy about that one.
I think I understand the people that are upset about it, the people that are using their own way of you know, protesting against it, whether it's buying the Switch 1 version and just having an inferior version of the game because they don't want to support the game key card thing or whatever. The thing is, even though Switch does have the highest physical sales of any of the consoles that are out there,
right?
And I'm sure that will continue with Switch 2. You know,
well, it depends because like how this is like one step closer to them kind of just phasing out physical games altogether.
But you know what's so weird is that, like, Nintendo won't give away their digital sales numbers to Circana or anybody else. Like, they don't want you to know what their digital sales are. Like,
well, also, like, it's not like their digital games go on sale that much either.
I mean, they're first party, but they do have sales on there. They have the sales on the eShop all the time.
No, yeah, but I meant for Nintendo games specifically.
Well, yeah,
like, I don't mean getting Saints Row 3 and 4 for like $2. Like, I mean, like, if they were like, hey, here's Mario Odyssey for this weekend only for $20 digitally, I'd buy it.
Right, exactly.
But like,
they never go that low. They never
They never go that low, and then they just don't do that. So
the only way is if they do that, like greatest hits. They'll make a game like the greatest hits, and then it's permanently $20 or $30 or whatever.
Right.
You know?
But they haven't even done that in a while. I don't think the Switch 1 has that.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because, like, you know, even like, you know, Breath of the Wild, if you want to get like a Switch 1 version, that's still at least $40.
It's still $60.
Yeah.
You have to go find a physical cart,
right,
to get it cheaper. You know, So,
I
yeah.
I think the game card, it's the worst of both worlds, not the best of both worlds, because you're getting something that is entirely dependent on their servers, and then.
But that's only to download it. The game works no problem with that after you download it the first time.
And if
it's
you
not
can't
like it has
download
it.
Or I mean, think about like the 100 megabyte update for like a regular game, like Mario Odyssey or whatever, versus, and let's say you have bad internet, that'll take you 10, 20 minutes or whatever, versus like downloading Octopath Zero. We said that's like 14 gigabytes. Like that'll take you all night.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I understand that.
Or
but...
like I said, like they should have kept up the Switch One size thing, and like not Perfect Dark, sorry, Persona 3 Reloaded. I'm sure that's getting a game key card, right?
That's a game key card, yeah.
Okay, that's a 30 gigabyte game. So if Switch One obviously had a 32 gigabyte cartridge size. Yeah. Why not have the Switch 2 have a 32 gigabyte cartridge size? You can put it all in there.
I'm fine with that too. If that's the resolution that Nintendo eventually comes to, if they keep getting feedback on all these surveys which look, this is what, again, we're in a bubble here.
And also, I mean,
yeah,
you act like collecting is like, or physical game collecting is like some small thing, but like no, if anything, it's getting bigger and bigger because people are realizing that like digital sucks. Like I just saw that this is a TV show related, but like they just yanked Doctor Who off of basically all the streaming services, like HBO.
Yeah, they're trying to come up with a deal for like one streamer to have everything except for the
Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah,
but it's like, I mean, there were people already kind of in the middle of it watching that show.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw
and
that.
So I was like, okay, what's the answer here? Either A, wait and pray that it gets back on some service that you probably don't have access to, or you have to sign up for it.
Yeah.
Or B, buy a Blu-ray set or buy a DVD set.
I mean, yeah, I've seen that too. I've seen a lot of the whole physical coming back because there's just too many streaming services and you can't pay for them all, and it's it eventually hits you big time in the wallet.
It becomes more expensive than like regular cable.
Yeah, I mean that's why we have all these like how now Disney has to deal with, they added HBO Max to their bundle because a lot of people don't want ESPN.
Yeah,
and you can have all three of those together, even though like Disney and Hulu are getting to the point where it's like, is there going to be a point to having Hulu at some point? Because you're trying to push it all into one thing, which I'm fine with if that means I can save $10 somewhere. But it's like, they keep pushing this whole Disney Plus on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus, and
it's like at a certain point, just merge it and move the fuck on,
Yeah, exactly. Just merge it, make it one freaking service. Stop. Let people, even though I'm sure they won't cut the price down, they'll still try to charge you. They'll make it like Netflix, where it's like, oh well, now you're getting double the content, so it's worth us still charging you the $20 or whatever a month. That's what I pay, $20 a month for all three or whatever. And and then you add on Netflix, which you can't get 4K without being having to pay the exorbitant whatever that they keep raising price for the highest tier of Netflix. And then and then they keep adding sports stuff, so that means Netflix is going to keep going up every year. And then I mean Peacock I get saved because I have Xfinity, so I don't pay for that. But it's like it gets to the point where it's like, dude, all this stuff gets crazy. So I understand that people are just like, you know what? I'm going to buy the freaking Blu-ray of the one thing that I know I'm going to watch a bunch of times and then just screw this,
But like to draw back into games, like games, like the key card isn't as bad as that, but like if the server goes down, when you're trying to download something, it's like, okay, this thing is worthless, or what do I do now? You know.
But I don't know. I just don't see that like where you're gonna have servers go down for single player stuff. Like we've seen that for the live service.
No, I'm not talking about for
like
games itself. I'm talking about like the download server specifically.
But we haven't seen that happen yet. When it does happen, I think people have a point. But the Wii download server is still around. The Wii U download server is still around. You know,
but look what happened back in the day when the PS3 got hacked. Like that system was down for months, basically.
Yeah, but we're talking about and of course that can happen. We saw the DDoS attack happen to Sony, and it was knocked out for a whole weekend or whatever. Yeah, you know, I know that stuff can happen, but I mean, we're talking about as technology gets even better. Yes, that means you're open to more attacks, but you're also open to people being able to restore the situation faster. I just don't think we live in a world where. And even then, it's like there's going to be people that eventually technology is going to get to the point where they'll be able to figure out a way where this doesn't cost you as much money to keep that up somewhere and to give you access to it. And as we keep improving and it looks like both Sony and Microsoft, at least, Nintendo seems to have adopted the same thing too. I don't know how long they're going to keep this going. I don't know if there's going to be a Switch 3 or whatever, but Sony and Microsoft seem to, at least for the time being, for the next generation of consoles that are going to exist, they are all about making sure that you can play everything from, PS4 on, and for Xbox, all the games you currently have access to now to the next generation. So it's like, as we keep adding on to that back catalog of, obviously there's games that they're not going to be able to add on to, right? There's going to be, like you said, there's just things that are going to be lost to time that aside from playing a ROM, you're just not going to have access to it.
Right.
But, as more things get remastered, as more things get, ported over because you want to have the original versions of those games, like whatever, hopefully those gaps keep getting filled in more. But I just think that, like, I get the whole idea of preservation. I think that that's great. I wish that the United States themselves, the Library of Congress, would do more to preserve games, just like they do with movies and music and all that stuff too. Maybe we'll get to that when we get more millennials in those positions. But
the difference, though, with like that stuff is like yes, movies and shows can come in a bunch of different formats, but typically they don't. So unless you're like looking for like the masters of a show or something, but that's beside the point. So you can buy a copy of like Star Trek on DVD, and it's the same as kind of it ever was. But you don't need some special player or some special hardware to like run it. Like if you're trying to, try playing the old Doom RPG from like on Nokia cell phones, like that doesn't exist. Period. And like I said a few weeks ago, like I had a friend trying to talk about. She was trying to find like an iOS app, I think, for like iOS 11, and I was like, that doesn't exist because Apple removed, or like it was the iPhone. I think she was like an iPhone 9 or something. I forget what it was, but she was like, it's on this phone, but I can't download it to my current iPhone. I'm like, yeah, because they eliminated 32-bit.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. So good luck. Like at least you got the old phone, so if you really need it, you can use it, but you can't do it anymore.
But that's also Apple. Like Apple doesn't care about preservation, apparently. Like they just want to, it's not like Android where,
but like
technically,
Apple also doesn't sell, gimped, empty versions of a game either. If the Apple store and said, hey, plug it into your iPhone and then it'll work while it's in there.
Yeah, I just don't like, I just feel like if it wasn't because this is the way it is now, where I don't agree with the code in the box. I think that might as well you just what's the point of the code in the box? I do think this half measure is at least makes it to where your physical cartridge means something because you can't play the game without it. And it does make it work. It's not like you have to re-download the game every single time you put that cartridge into the system. You just do it one time and that's it. Now, again, obviously, if you uninstall the game and all that stuff, then that's another situation. But, and I get it, like, oh, down the line, or what if they, but like, again, we're living in these situations where it's like, we don't know what that's going to be like. And you're thinking about preserving something that who knows what that's all going to be like.
We don't know what it's going to be like, but we have very clear evidence of what Nintendo's done in the past. So it's not. But
also, they can make those games not work if they want to. Even with the situation it is, like PS3, they can literally do something, make it update to where it will not work if they want to.
But like, you have to accept the update.
Yeah, I know.
It's not like they can just magically push it to the PS3 and say, like, no, PS3 can run Trash Panic anymore.
Okay, but look what happened to you, right? Like, you were trying to do that with Expedition 33 for ever, where you didn't want it to do the update because...
and then it did. And then what was my solution? Go out and buy a physical copy of the game.
Right, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, if it happens accidentally and then you can't undo it, right? So
the solution is buy physical copy, period. And Nintendo is like, no, we're not allowing you to do that, because even the physical copy of the game is still going to be like the updated version, or which is a massive screw you to the audience.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with there should be more versions of the cards, right? There should be, like, I get it. Maybe for Nintendo, it's a cost thing of like, well, it costs us money to print 16 gigabyte cards or whatever.
My question to Nintendo would be like, how many? You have the Switch 1 data, obviously. How many? Like, what's the breakdown of carts versus size? Like, how many games required a 64 gigabyte cart, or would have required? By like The Witcher 3, or maybe that Resident Evil 2 or Doom or something. But those are like the exceptions, not the rule. So how many Switch 1 games would have been fine on an 8 or 16 gigabyte cartridge?
There are so many. All the indies that are on there wouldn't even need that.
Even like the Nintendo stuff. Most of that stuff was like small.
Yeah, they're great at figuring out how to compress all that to where they somehow got all those to where most of their games you could legitimately install them onto the actual Switch because they weren't more than 32 gigabytes. I don't want to keep belaboring the point, but I do think that this is it would be, I'd love to see if Nintendo would ever release it, like the actual digital sales data for stuff to see, like, it seems like Nintendo, there is a huge physical adoption rate for Nintendo specifically, obviously. And that's great. And that's what's weird about this is like, why are you trying to push people that way when you yourself don't even reveal your own digital sales data? So you seem to have this weird fascination with wanting to show how many physical games have been bought, but then you, in a way, are also trying to push people to buy more digitally. So it's weird,
I mean, unless their digital stuff is like somehow really in the tank.
Well, it's not though, because I mean, what they do is they only have it for themselves when they do their quarterly reports. That's where they have their first party digital sales data or whatever. They just don't give it away to Circana for some reason. I don't know why that is, which is dumb because Mario Kart World would have been the #1 game for the month if you would have allowed them to have access to the digital sales data. So it's interesting that Nintendo seems to have this lockdown on that for some weird reason or another.
Got the solution to everything. So in Japan, way back in the day, like the SNES and Game Boy, they had this thing called Nintendo Power, and it wasn't a magazine, but it was something you could basically buy a blank cartridge at like 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Okay.
And you go in there and it writes a copy of the game to the blank cartridge, and you can like play it for however long you want.
Yeah, you mean like what you mean those like Famicom like floppy disk looking things, right?
Yeah. Slightly different. This was actually for the Super Nintendo. I mean,
Yeah.
I have one of these. I actually have the Metroid one. But you can basically, it's like a rewritable cartridge.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You could rewrite. Didn't they used to have like vending machines and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like bring the cartridge in and like plug it in, and then just write a new game to it, or things bitching. So just bring that back to 7-Eleven nowadays for Switch 2.
Exactly. But all right. I mean, that was a really long conversation. Didn't know they were gonna talk that long about it. But yeah, let us know what you think about that. Are you, pro all about we need to destroy Game Geek cards, they need to go away, or you kind of see the idea of why they need to exist? Is there a better solution to this for Nintendo? And what do you think Nintendo's going to do? Are they going to pay attention to any of this survey stuff at all? Or is it just there to appease people and they're not doing anything about it? Because again, we're living in a bubble, and maybe most of the people don't give two craps about whether there's physical or digital preservation, and they just want to buy the damn game digital, and that's it. Because honestly, for a portable system, it doesn't really make sense. I don't want to be carrying around little carts with me everywhere. I want to just carry the system, and then I have access to all my games, and that's it. Same thing with Steam Deck, right? That's why Steam Deck's so cool. You have access to all your games on the go. But for the people that, it's still a home console, people that play it mostly at home, it is, or you want to lend it to your friend or whatever. I mean, even though you can do it digitally as well. It is what it is.
Not well with the Switch 2. I think they kind of closed that loophole with that one, but
yeah, you have to like live physically near the person,
right?
Whatnot. But I think somebody found a loophole around that too, so we'll see. But anyway, moving on to Xbox. They had an interesting something that again shows like number one, like the tone deaf part of Xbox, especially Satya Nadella. Like we talked about last week, where he said that it weighs on him, the whole layoffs and whatever, but they're doing great. And then here we are, we actually get the numbers of them doing great. A record fiscal year for the entire company. $76.4 billion, up 18% year on year. Income $27 billion, 24% year on year. Xbox revenue $13.5 billion, up 9% year on year. Xbox is the top selling publisher on PlayStation again for the quarter. Their content and services revenue, which is where Game Pass is, 13% year on year. Thanks to first party content and Game Pass. Game Pass hit nearly $5 billion for the first time ever. So I think I think that's it for the.
Did he wrap this all up by saying we're gonna lay off some more people?
I mean, that's all that's left really. But I think I think we need to put to bed the whole it's not profitable thing. No, Game Pass just made $5 billion. Like that's enough with that.
Apparently it's not. I mean,
no, but I'm just saying, like, again, it's because of the strategy of number one, they don't count the first party stuff. That's a whole different profit and loss thing that goes into a whole different category. They're not going after the huge third party games anymore. So yes, it doesn't cost them that much. They're not giving away the amount of money that they used to give. So it makes sense that if the majority of the stuff is a bunch of indie games that comes to the service. You're paying a lot less for that. So I could see how it is profitable. And how that, well, we don't know where they're pulling this number from. Obviously, there's details here that they're not giving us. They're not giving us the numbers for the actual Game Pass subs, which is weird. I wonder what the deal is with that. Like, why can't you just give a number? Like, is it a big deal to say 38 million subscribers? Like, what is?
I mean, it is because they used to promise back in the day, like, we're going to have 100 million subscribers by 2027 or whatever. And if they said, like, oh, we only have 28 million subscribers now.
But what's funny is that 100 million subscribers also had that 5.5 billion next to it. And they've made the money out of it with way less subscribers. So it's just interesting that, like, maybe it is that their subscriber count went down since the last time they said it, but it's just like, you're making money off of it. So what does it say that you have less subscribers, but you're making just as much money? I don't know.
They're able to bilk people.
But whatever. The whole point is, he also says 50 million people have played Call of Duty Black Ops 6 with total hours surpassing 2 billion. We saw what happened after the Minecraft movie. People were playing Minecraft more. Makes sense. And again, they touted the whole 40 games in development. Amy Hood did say that they expect that stuff's going to go down next quarter because they don't have the game releases to, the glut of game releases that they had in this quarter.
Right.
To go with that. So we'll see, because they did say that they had higher expected off of Game Pass and first party sales and all that stuff. So, and again, this strategy that they're doing of putting the games on PlayStation, that's part of it too, right? They have 500 million monthly active users. That's across everything. That includes PlayStation. That includes PC. Did you see the whole? Now they're putting. I think Grounded 2 was the first one that had it. It says Xbox on PC now instead of PC. So I guess it's a branding thing, since they're going to be putting all of your games from all the stores on the Xbox app or whatever now. Or not, that's the Xbox PC app. So now they've called it Xbox on PC, which, for all the people that were bitching about how, oh my God, the Xbox branding is dying and all that stuff, is like, they could have easily just said this is all Microsoft gaming now, and they've actually gone backwards and said this is Xbox on PC. So I don't know. I think that's good news in a way, but especially for me, that again has a lot of things on Xbox and wants to see that go forward. The more we can continue to have this branding exist is good for everybody, I guess.
I think the Xbox on PC branding only works if every Xbox game was compatible with PC.
I think that's the point that they want to get to by the time we get to next generation. We'll see how that all works.
It won't.
They didn't even not every game. There's going to be games that obviously are just not going to work. But I think the majority of games are going to try to get it to work like that.
And 3 on PC, goddammit.
Also, more stuff about Starfield coming to PS5. I feel like we've talked about this like 5 different times. MP First is once again reporting that there is a discussion about getting Starfield ported over to PS5 this time. Remember, the first time they were really talking about it was when, what was the name of the expansion? No, I don't remember. The first expansion, when the first expansion was coming out, that's when everybody said, oh, they're going to put out Starfield on PS5.
Right.
Now. And then it didn't happen. Of course, the expansion sold terribly.
Yeah. It was like some roguelite thing.
Wasn't that? It was like, it felt like they just took an episode or like a small chunk of a story and then made that DLC. And it's like, There's people that love Starfield, the actual game, and then hated the DLC, the expansion.
Yeah.
So I guess they want to see if they can get good press about Starfield again before they port it over. So now we're going into, I'm sorry, the first expansion was called Shattered Space. I don't know why I couldn't think of it right then. But
generic title.
Supposedly in early 2026, there's going to be a second expansion for Starfield. And then that's when this port is going to happen to PS5. So, okay. And then, honestly, this doesn't surprise me at all, but they're already talking about Gears E-Day and State of Decay 3 also possibly coming day and date on PS5 as well. That's when, you know.
See, okay, I can make a claim that, or you can make a claim that, like Sea of Thieves or even Forza Horizon, those were missing on PS5. Like, there's not a good open world arcade style, but still simulation driving game on PS5 that's actually like good, like because Test Drive doesn't count. No one cared about Starfield in the first place when it came out, like realistically, and that because that game
it was still what, like number 10 in sales for the entire year, and that's with Game Pass.
But that's just because, but like, think about like 2 years after the fact.
Or, right. You know, people aren't talking about it.
Right. It's just extremely like mediocre game. Like that's from like I think Jens, we were talking about it recently. He was like, I think he said that he made like a fantastic looking, I think it was Anya Taylor-Joy like lookalike in the game.
Yeah.
And he played it for like an hour after, and then he turned it off because it was so boring. And I was like,
yeah, because they promised all this exploration and whatever, and then you go there and it's like, you know, they're all blah.
Yeah, I'd rather have, you know, even between the two, I'd rather have something more focused. It's not like linear, but more focused, like Outer Worlds or Outer Worlds 2, that has like a story or, you know, stuff to actually do.
Right.
So yeah, I think they'll put it on PS5 eventually, but I think it'll be like a giant who cares.
Yeah, we'll see, because
unless
people keep saying this, and then things sell well. So
unless there's somehow like bolt in like Fallout shit into the game, be like, here's the Fallout pack.
Maybe that could be the thing that saves it.
Go visit Fallout World, you know.
Yeah, go Fallout in space.
Right.
That's gonna be it. We'll see if it actually comes to fruition or not. Again, I feel like we've been talking about Starfield's going to get ported to PS5 for a long time now, and it hasn't happened. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm sure we will get there eventually. A little bit more good news. The
Still
QA
no
team.
Redfall.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody needs to. The QA team for Raven Software has finally inked the union deal with Microsoft Activision after years of like going back and forth on this, and filing a complaint with the National Labor Relations Board and everything. They have gotten a guarantee. This is 19 people on the QA staff, reported by Shannon Liao, that they have a guaranteed 10% wage increase over 2 years with an option to permanently work from home for most QA workers. New measures to tackle crunch culture and process of promotions and salary increase and stuff like that. That's great. That's all good.
Yeah.
Hopefully that means that you will be employed for a while.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw that, like, well, not funny to them, obviously, but like ZeniMax laid off like a few IGN people that were union. It's like,
oh, Ziff. Yeah, Ziff Davis.
Ziff Davis,
laid off 8% of their staff and 12% of their union staff.
Right.
Yeah, which is,
so I was like, yep, the union really has power.
Absolutely crazy. It's like, and then, you know, we got to remember IGN bought a bunch of sites not too long ago. Like GameIndustry.biz and
Rock Paper Shotgun, Digital Foundry. So
didn't they buy Eurogamer as well?
Yeah, probably.
So like, that's not just IGN proper. That's people. Oh damn, Matt Kim is gone. Wow, Eric Adams is gone. Dang. Most people probably have no idea who that is, but I'm just
right.
Like, this is exactly what I feared would happen when they started buying up sites.
Yeah. I mean,
obviously, they're in that lawsuit with OpenAI too, which has affected them and has affected most of websites because now you don't even have to go to the site. You just get Gemini puts up the gist of it at the top, and that's it. Like I've even caught myself sometimes where like I don't go to the actual site because it's just right there for you, and just kind of you forget about, oh damn, not reading the whole article, which that used to be the whole point. You're supposed to read the article.
It doesn't help when it's a problem, but like AI is a problem with that, but it also doesn't help when a lot of sites like obfuscate headlines and shit. Like this game, like the headline is this game is coming out, or this game has release date of September 26th, and it's like, why not just tell the fucking name of the game? And then the article, and it's like 3 paragraphs of bullshit before they even say like, oh,
because you have to hit the stupid 300 word count, or Google doesn't pay attention to your article, which is still stupid. I get it. The whole point is that they don't want people putting out articles of like 50 words or whatever, so they could try to be first. But like, yo, I mean, sometimes the article is literally just 150 words, and you're having to figure out 150 words of bullshit to write.
Then you just start buttoning a bunch of haikus.
Yeah, like no, I mean the same thing happened with I did an article on the BioShock 4 stuff, and you saw like 5 different ways people were writing the headline to make it to where you don't put the name of the guy that left the studio, the creative director, not the creative director, the studio head, in the article, in the title, because then people won't read the article, right? So it's like, and this happens with everything now.
It's mysterious man left BioShock 4 development.
The biggest way you see this happen is like, such and such game developer that made this other game is also leaving Game Pass or whatever. It's like it's the stupidest way. Instead of going, this game specifically is leaving Game Pass, you got to find some stupid clickbait article headline. I'm not blaming like Game Rant is like the number one at this. I'm not saying that it's terrible, whatever. I get it that they got to get clicks, but it sucks. It sucks seeing all that, really.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Also, we talked about like they did a whole between last week and this week, they did a whole lot of Battlefield.
Right.
Battlefield 6, I should mention. So now this week there's going to be, not this week particularly, unless you got the extra special version. There's a open beta that's going to happen for Battlefield 6, the multiplayer, on August 9th through 10th, and then another one August 14th through 17th. And you can preload now if you want. But if you have the EA Play Pro, and you were registered for the Battlefield Labs before July 31st, you actually have access to it on Thursday, August 7th. So I've heard a lot of people are excited about this thing. I saw a lot of people pre-ordering this game that I think were on the fence before they started showing off a lot of it.
Is it 100 million players worth of?
I don't know about 100 million players, but people that were definitely kind of on the fence. They go, man, I pre-ordered the game now. I'm excited. I'm ready to play. And I'm like, okay. They sold a bunch of people on it, it seems like.
I think here's the thing. I think there is a space, or there is plenty of room for a non-Call of Duty shooter in the world that's like military themed and slightly more realistic, I would say. Not like Arma level or like SOCOM, but a little more realistic. But like, I don't know, Battlefield ain't it. Like, this is now their like 4th attempt, I would say. at trying to reboot this thing, or and it's just been like a dismal nightmare ever since like Battlefield 4, and even that, I think that was kind of well regarded at the time, but
it seems like this has some like hype behind it. Like this has some like meat on. There's a lot of modes in this open beta that they're doing. I'm seeing a lot of people getting hyped about this or whatever. Like it's there. It feels a lot different than the past ones where it kind of felt like, oh man, people bought it, and then now, granted, you can get all hyped, and then the actual game comes out, and then
right,
means nothing. But at least for now, this feels a little bit different. It feels like there's some steam behind this one that wasn't there.
Remember the Beard Father from the Medal of Honor game?
Oh Lord, yeah.
Like I think EA, the problem with EA is it has too many of these types of like military friends. Like it has Battlefield, it has Medal of Honor. I'm sure it has one other one somewhere, or it has like Bad Company. That's a Battlefield offshoot, but still,
right.
And they just seem like very lost about what to do.
Yeah, I agree. But we'll see.
A good example is like this probably isn't in the news, but like to close down this like Need for Speed car site, like car news site.
Yeah.
Because like they're not working on a Need for Speed game anymore, and it's like, yo, how about a Burnout game? I don't like the last one, but like you guys could do it, and it doesn't need to be like this huge project. Like I think the most successful Burnout game was probably Burnout 3. I would have to assume, and make something like that. Like it doesn't need to be some big interconnected world nonsense or some multiplayer, online presence bullshit. Like just make a good single/multiplayer game, and that'd be it. But they have their heads so far off their asses they can't do that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, hey, they also want to turn Apex Legends into a movie. So
yes, the rich lore of Apex Legends. Do you think it's just okay? You have one or two options. Do you think it's just alien worlds or alien, basically like alien conflict, or humans versus whatever, or do you think it's kid gets sucked into Apex Legends and has to like fight?
Oh, you mean doing the isekai version of Apex?
Yeah, doing Jumanji.
They could do that. I actually wouldn't mind seeing that.
Or
honestly.
The third option is the wizard option, where Apex is like just in the world, and this kid wanted to go play it. Remember when they were going to make?
Yeah.
They didn't want to make it, but Brett Ratner wanted to make a Guitar Hero game.
Oh, he did. Okay, I did not know that.
This was like a long time ago, yeah. But he said like, I think he said Activision wouldn't let him do it because it would screw. Like they were afraid of him damaging the Rock Band or the Guitar Hero franchise name. And it's like, yeah, like, who won on that one? I wonder,
Yeah. It doesn't.
I know Apex is dumb, but
anyway, look, they want to make a Sims. They're making a Sims movie. It doesn't surprise me at all that they want somebody to buy an Apex Legends script. Like,
that's the thing I was gonna say is like they may want it and they may eventually pawn it off on some company or whatever, but it's not gonna happen.
But it seems like that's the move right now. Like Nintendo's doing it. Like Nintendo put out Donkey Kong Bonanza and made Donkey Kong its own thing at the theme park or whatever, because they want to eventually be able to push that Donkey Kong movie.
I mean, you talked about the Sims movie, it got canceled.
Yeah. But like, it seems like everybody's trying to find that, what's the franchise we can make it to a movie or a series or something.
That's the thing is like comics are mined pretty heavily at the moment. Or, you can't like make. There aren't enough like A-list independent comics out there, and even if they were, they're not going to become some AAA or AAA movie, like big budget movie. I mean, hell, Marvel can't even get a Blade movie off the ground. It's like the simplest fucking thing in the world. So yeah,
I wouldn't say it's simple. It seems like they kind of changed direction of how they are trying to make their movies now. And
no,
that
it's simple.
movie,
because like one of the original pitches for the movie was like Blade wasn't going to really be in it. It was going to be about like teenage girls fighting vampires.
Yeah,
and it's like that's not a Blade movie. That's a Buffy movie. Like
right. Yeah,
Blade is Wesley Snipes or Maharashi
Ali.
Yeah,
Maharaja Ali. Yeah.
Yeah, him fighting vampires. That is a one sentence fucking movie. I mean, even movies they've made like Guardians 3 or like, Fantastic Four, like they are slightly more complicated. But Blade fights vampires. The end.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get it off the ground. So I think like video games are like the last frontier when it comes to like adapting shit.
Yeah, and it's kind of new-ish, and then it pushes people to buy the games, which that's another thing too, right? EA wants that because it gets people to, look at what happened with Minecraft, right? Minecraft just got another boon, not that it necessarily needed it, but it got another boon after that movie. Look at what happened with Fallout with the TV show. I don't know about,
which is funny because like Fallout didn't have a ton of shit to go along with it. I think like when Fallout came out, they were expecting the movie they sort of like not flop per se, but not like be good.
To do okay, right? Yeah. To do fine. Like another Halo TV show, right? Like let's be at least a little bit better than that. I don't think they were expecting it to explode and be like the best thing on Amazon for the entire time it was, for that run. So
they didn't mine it enough, but like Minecraft, they already had a bunch of average figures.
Well, plus Minecraft is like a living game; it just keeps going.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, I can do a lot of the things that I saw in the movie in the game pretty quickly, probably. Whereas Fallout's just like, well, I'm playing these old games, but at least I'm getting the Fallout deal. And
so like, well, that's what I meant. Well, that like, video games are kind of like the last, even like books, like it's hard to adapt most books that really make them simple.
Yeah, exactly.
And the nice thing about video games is plots are usually already simple. So
yep. Well, something that we thought, speaking of something we thought was simple for Warner Brothers, which meant we're not going to do DC Universe live service games anymore.
Right.
Apparently nobody got the memo because they're going to do another one.
Hey, third time's a charm.
What is going on at like why is it that everybody that they hire at this to run these game studios is like doesn't read the room? Look, I get it that this is great for investors and investors want to hear about how we're going to do this thing and it's going to make $1 gazillion. We just got to find the right one. But as long as you invest, it's going to happen, guys.
Well, that's the thing is like they're like, on paper, before it actually came out and was made, I'm sure like the Suicide Squad or like a Justice League themed live service game might have been fine. But then it came out in such a broken state, and not even like, even aside from the game quality itself, like no one wanted to play it, or it seemed like on its face, the pitch just seemed awful. Right. So no one wanted to play it even then. Even if that game was like somehow the best game ever, it's like it's still not going to attract people because they don't like the premise. So
yeah, they didn't want to be killing the heroes. Right. They wanted to be able to be the heroes. So
I mean, the problem with that though is they can't like monetize that. Like you can't, Superman might have like a few different costumes, but they're not going to make a bunch of like weird Superman skims through this thing, or it's like, hey, I'm Superman. Why can't I just beat everyone with one hand tied behind my back?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's what you said partially. Like they're kind of fooling investors, or they're going to go like, oh, this is when it's going to hit, and it's like, don't you have a history? Like none of these have hit, and the one game that like did well for you guys, that Hogwarts game, was completely not this.
Exactly, it was
But
completely
they
not
always
this.
they always think like, oh, it's like a casino, or it's like a poker hand, or gambling. Like,
Right.
well, this one didn't hit, and it is a $500 million write-off for this one. But hey, the next one, that'll be the one. That'll be the golden ticket.
Yeah, it's that person that's like addicted to the lottery that goes,
Yeah.
oh man, I didn't win this week, but next week I'm winning Powerball, bro. Next week, no, you're not. The probability of you winning is like, it's not gonna happen. The probability of you getting the hit that takes people away from Fortnite and all that stuff and makes all that money. Look, I get it. The DC, look, maybe because Superman's doing well and they can keep that momentum going, and the next whatever DC universe movie is does nearly as well or whatever. Maybe by the time that the game will then push people to play it or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know that the movies would have. I don't know if DC Universe was in a good state if that would have saved the Suicide Squad game, because that game was just messed up.
Right.
So
we always bring up, or whenever these games like fail, and people always bring up like Final Fantasy 14, and we do that a lot. Like, oh, that's a game that bombed when it first came out and came back like really well. But that is the exception, not the rule. Like most of these games, when they flame out or when they go offline, they either don't come back, or.
But you know what helped Final Fantasy 14 also?
An obsessive fan base.
That, and they already had a success with Final Fantasy 11. So they already knew what they had to do with 14.
Yeah.
In a way. They just had to have the time to get it there. Whereas, are you going to give this dev team time to get this game to where it needs to be before it becomes this long in the tooth? We spent way too much money on it and we're still not getting anything out of it. And it winds up being canceled.
Right. It's like, even if they came out with like a live service game, it's like, is anyone going to get invested in it? Because their track record is not the greatest. Like within 6 months is it going to be around, or even like within a year. I mean, they killed out that Suicide Squad game in like 9 months.
Yeah, because they said, let's just do the tax write-off on it because...
And hell, at least like that Avengers game, lasted like 2 years, I think.
To be fair, the Avengers game, that was before people started deciding they were just going to cancel these things like outright or whatever,
But see, I don't trust them. I mean, no one should.
I don't either.
Like, even if I think the only way you could trust them is this is like a very small scale live service game. Like, if they made basically a version of like DC, like the Marvel Heroes game that they used to like, but it was like DC focused, that might work. But like, they're not going to do that because it's not quadruple A or triple A. So even though that was a successful game at the time, like it's still not as big a success as they need it to be or want it to be. It's the same thing as like Game Pass from Microsoft.
Right. Well, I mean, Game Pass is doing just fine for what it is. It's the same thing. Hopefully, Sony is learning from this as well. Of just, we got to make sure that these things are going to be decently good before we just put it out to the world and it's just terrible. Like, we cannot let another Concord happen. We cannot let it just be awful. And it's like a black mark on us or whatever. So that's why they're delaying Marathon and delaying Fair Games, and we haven't even seen what the Horizon stuff is, because they want to make sure they get that right.
Yeah, like I was just saying, like when something comes out, it's bad, you only got two options: is cancel it, which Concord or some of the other crap, or try take it offline and hopefully make it better. But that so rarely happens. It's like,
and people don't have the patience anymore.
Yeah, just move the fuck on. I mean, yeah. So
because that's the problem is the continuous talk about the game is going to be, oh, it's shit. Oh, it's a terrible game.
It's a train wreck.
It's like you're going to get YouTube videos made about it for months and all this stuff. It's like you're going to have this aura of negative around you constantly. Look what Sony had to do. They literally had to, the day they took Concord offline, they launched Astrobot on purpose.
Yeah.
So that nobody was thinking about Concord. They were just thinking about how awesome Astrobot is.
Right.
So it's like, you don't have a bunch of those that you can just pull out of your hat every time. A couple more things, and then we're done here. BioShock 4 is in trouble. Apparently the studio head has left Cloud Chamber Studios after an internal review by 2K Games. They determined that the narrative apparently wasn't going in the situation that it needed to be, and that needs to get revamped now. And also the creative director, Hogarth de la Plante, who actually was involved in the original BioShock game in various ways, moved to a publishing position within 2K, so he's not involved with the game either. They didn't announce who's replaced them, but 2K is insisting that they want BioShock 4 to be great, so this is why they're doing this. But pretty much this game's in development hell for a while now.
Right.
And also BioShock 1 apparently had a remake and that got canceled.
That's a shame.
That kind of
I'd like to see that, like, I'd like to see that game look modern, or if they did like a good HD.
I mean, it already looked amazing when it first came out. So
so yeah, if they pitch it up even further, that'd be cool. I don't know. BioShock 4 seems like a fool's errand, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean,
and obviously you don't have Ken Levine there to do.
Right. I would say there are ways to tackle it. Like, I guess one good spin would be assume that Rapture is very it's not known, or it's it's basically forgotten about, and the game pieces of Rapture start washing up on today's world, or today's beaches or whatever, and people discover it now, because that game was set in the 30s, I think.
Yeah. 30s.
So basically 100 years later, what has happened. That'd be kind of a cool take, but I thought they'd do it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I don't think they can't make a BioShock Infinite 2.
Not gonna go that route either, probably.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think there are ways to do a BioShock game, a new one, but the avenues to do it, I don't see a ton of creativity, for example, or ways to expand upon the universe. Then again, I don't think his new game, Ken Levine's new game, looks great either. But at least
you're not sold on Judas?
It looks just so derivative, I think it looks cool, but it's okay, 80% of this shit looks like it's from BioShock. So
but he made BioShock, so it makes sense.
He didn't make System Shock though. I mean,
yeah. But I get what you mean. I get you. Once you've seen it, it doesn't get you excited in that same way, when BioShock did it.
But I guess hats off to 2K for not trying to ramrod this thing through, or
I agree. Yeah, making sure the game is good. I agree with that, and not having to lay off, even though they did. There was in the meeting, they did utter the words, you need to be agile and all that stuff that you hear a lot of people say when they're going to do layoffs. So who knows if there is going to be layoffs. But we haven't even seen this game. Like, we haven't even seen a trailer or anything. And this thing's been in development for almost 6 years now, which is crazy.
So it's like a Microsoft game.
It's true. I'm not wrong. Last thing here, itch.io has relisted the free NSFW content, but the paid content remains delisted while they're still working with the payment processors to figure out what they're going to allow and what they're not, even though, again, this doesn't necessarily have everything to do with payment processors. This is payment processors listening to activist groups and getting all bent out of shape about it. Also, they have the extra caveat of the fact that they use Stripe and apparently as the main thing that lets the credit cards work on there or whatever. And Stripe is just downright just like, no, we're not dealing with any of that. They don't want any NSFW content where you have to pay for sexual gratification, in their own words there. So that's part of the reason why they're apparently not bringing it back for now. But they said that as they get the okay, they're going to slowly bring back paid stuff, but you're going to have to go through a whole different content guideline. And you can also get your stuff put up right now if you make it to where you don't have to pay for it, which I'm sure that hurts the devs that are making those where they were making money from it. Yeah, just a weird situation. Like you said, slippery slope, obviously.
Right.
And Steam hasn't even said anything, so I wonder how that's going, if they're going to bring that back or not at all.
Right.
Do you think there's a way, like, this is going to get worse? Or do you think that with the outcry, it's going to end here? Like,
I think with the outcry, it'll end here, or they'll quietly, itch.io and Steam will reverse a lot of BS, or Visa and MasterCard. People aren't happy with them. I mean, they're kind of the culprits. So,
unfortunately, there's not like a lot of ways to go about that, because it's not like you can stop using the credit card, but it doesn't mean you can get a credit card that doesn't use MasterCard or Visa.
Go with Discover what you want.
Yeah, go try to see if you have good enough credit to go get another one of those cards. That's not one of them. That's the only problem you have there. It's kind of hard to stick it to the payment processors in that way. Yeah, that's it for the news here. We'll just go ahead and end the episode like we do all the episodes here with what's coming out this week. Apex Legends hit Switch 2 as of right now when you're listening to this. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles 2, that comes out to everything. Also out now as well. Disco Elysium also hits mobile. Out now. The Chain of Echoes DLC, Ashes of Elrond. Awesome to see that it's getting DLC. That's one of the best, RPGs that have come out in the, recent memory. That's coming to everything, of course. The Gradius Origins Collection. Konami just keeps putting out stuff. That's coming out to everything pretty much as well, except no Switch 2 version right now. Only Switch 1 version. And you've got the House of the Dead remake. That's coming to PC. House of the Dead 2 remake, I'm sorry. That's coming to PC and Switch 1. They had a, House of the Dead 1 remake that was actually fairly decent.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Not that long ago. So good to see that number 2 is also getting the remake treatment too. Worms Across, so I guess that's a new Worms game is coming to the Apple devices. Mafia: The Old Country will be the big game for next week. That's coming out on the 8th to Xbox Series, PS5, and PC. And it's also $50. So if you're sort of interested in Mafia, you don't have to play the other ones to play this because it's a prequel. So I guess why not?
Right.
I can't remember there's something coming out soon that I had to go back and be like, well, can I want to get that or want to get Mafia? So I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it. But yeah, that's the one for this week. Next week you get Madden, and it's Hellblade 2 is coming to PS5, and such. So yeah, we'll start getting some kind of heavier hitters here for August pretty soon here. But Mafia Old Country is the first one. We'll see how that reviews, how well it does. Take-Two's hoping that it does pretty decent for them.
All right.
But until next week, we'll see you later, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, listening, all that. Leave us a review, and we'll see you
Later.